Hello, I'm Ella, a 25-year-old university student from Florida. My parents divorced when I was 12, and I've lived with my mom ever since. Last year, my father succumbed to cancer, which was profoundly challenging for me because we were really close. He left me a significant amount of money in his will, but I could only access it once I turned 18. This year, I finally turned 18, and something really crazy happened to me. To be honest, I still can't believe how everything turned out. One day, my stepdad, Graham, who's in his mid-40s and has been married to my mom for 5 years, called me into his room. We've never had the best relationship, but I've tried to be civil with him. However, he hasn't always been nice to me. Anyway, he said, "Hey Ella, I need to talk to you about something important." I asked him what it was, and he brought up the money my dad left me. He said I should give it to my stepbrother, Liam, because he needed it for his college education. Liam wanted to go to university, just like me, and Graham thought I should hand over the inheritance money to him. I was shocked by what I heard. I couldn't believe Graham was asking me to give away my own money. I told him, "I don't think I can do that, Graham. This money was left to me by my dad. What if I need it in the future?" Graham didn't agree and said, "Don't be silly. You don't need that money, and even if you do, Liam needs it more." I firmly replied, "I'm sorry, but the answer is no." Graham got angry and warned me, "Ella, don't push me." I told him calmly, "There's no need to get angry. I answered your question honestly. Saying no isn't meant to disrespect you. It's about setting boundaries. I'm standing my ground, and if you're mad because I said no, you need to think about your attitude. Don't forget, you're a guest in this house too. So let's be civil." "Well, I don't think that's going to happen." "Goodbye," I said before he could say anything else. Graham's behavior didn't surprise me at all. Given his past actions, I knew he'd eventually ask me for the money. You might be wondering where my mom was during all of this. Well, that's another story. My mom, Clara, didn't seem to see Graham's flaws. She stood by him no matter what, almost like she was under a spell. She loved me, but I didn't want to ruin her view of him, so I tried to get along with Graham for her sake. It's strange how, even though I was one of the youngest in the house, I often had to act the most mature. My mom was out of town at the time, which is why she wasn't here. If she were, she'd have been furious. That's why Graham felt like he could boss me around. But little did he know, I was on to his sneaky plans. Graham followed me out of the room, scolding me and calling me a bad sister because I didn't want to give the money to Liam. That wasn't true. I did want to help Liam, but not at the expense of my own future. When people say, like father, like son, they might be talking about Liam and Graham. These two troublemakers are like Pinky and the Brain, you can decide who's who based on what happened next. Hey! Don't walk away while I'm talking. You need to listen and do what's right, Graham said. Can you give me a good reason for that? I asked. Well, it's what's best for everyone, he stammered. At that moment, Liam walked in, rubbing his eyes. What's going on with you two? Your arguing woke me up. Liam, tell Ella about what we talked about earlier, Graham said. Sure, what was it again? Oh, right, the inheritance money. Yeah, Ella, Dad and I were talking, and we demand this money because of that important thing we discussed. You mean the business, right? Graham chimed in. What business? You said this money was for my university tuition, I asked, narrowing my eyes. Yeah, that's what it's for, Graham said quickly. Liam nodded. Yes. I completely forgot, I just woke up, you know. It's for university. Well, that's a cute attempt, but not cute enough. The answer is no, I said firmly. Why not? Liam whined. I know what I want. This wasn't up for discussion. We're getting that money. Graham snapped. We'll see about that, I replied. The rest of the evening was filled with tension. While Graham was known for his silly pranks and attempts to test my patience, this new effort to pressure me was unusual. Graham followed me again, saying, Ella, stop playing around. You need to be a grown-up and do the right thing. And the right thing is giving away my money. Are you okay, Graham? Just wait until I tell Mom. Don't tell Clara anything. Why not? She's my mom. She deserves to know how I'm being treated. You think she cares? Listen, I'm just trying to help you. If you bring this up to her, she'll get upset at you for wasting her time and being selfish. Well, Graham, that's a risk I'm willing to take. I'm warning you, don't tell your mother. His angry tone surprised me. I had never seen him so worked up, especially over something like this. Something was definitely going on, especially with that business idea Liam let slip. They thought I wasn't smart enough to catch on, and Graham's strong reaction against me talking to my mom made everything even more suspicious. The next morning, I called my mom. Hey Mom, how are you doing? I'm good, baby. How about you? My mom asked. Not very well, Mom. Something's off with Graham and Liam, especially Graham. He's acting weirder than usual. Oh, Ella, don't be paranoid. I know you don't really like him, but he's not weird. Mom, he asked me for the inheritance money. What? Really? Actually, he demanded the money, both him and Liam. That's not true. He wouldn't do that. I know you love him, Mom, for whatever reason, but it's true. He said it's for Liam's education, but I think something fishy is going on. He even got pretty aggressive when I told him I'd tell you what he said to me. I don't know, baby. I just feel like I need more proof. Don't worry, I'll get all the proof you need. Just wait and see. Even though my mom wasn't ready to fully believe me, I could tell Graham had her under some kind of spell. I was still determined to figure out his strange behavior. Late at night, I used the family computer and found something shocking. Luckily for me, Graham had forgotten to log out of his email. That was a big mistake. What I found was extremely concerning. Graham had been sending emails to a woman named Margot. These weren't innocent emails at all, it looked like he was having an affair. I jotted down notes on what I found, but then I stumbled across something even crazier. The emails revealed that Graham was planning to divorce my mom and run away with Margot. He claimed they'd be getting a lot of money soon from some business, but based on what I read, it seemed like a shady business deal. Graham wasn't dumb enough to put explicitly illegal stuff in his emails, but he was definitely dumb enough to have an affair and forget to log out. I knew I needed more information, so I decided to see if I could get something out of Liam. The next day, I approached him with my phone discreetly recording our conversation. Hey, Liam. Hello, Ella. You seem happy today. Why not? It's a beautiful day. I have some questions for you, I said, trying to sound casual. I've been thinking about what you and Graham said, and I'm considering giving you the money. Really? That's great. I'll let him know. Not so fast, I replied. Before I give you the money, it is for your college, right? Oh, yeah, right, my college tuition, Liam stammered. Are you sure? I pressed. And what about Margot? Is she serious? Margot? Who's Margot? He asked, clearly caught off guard. Oh, she's, a student advisor for the college, Liam stuttered, fumbling over his words. Before I could say more, Graham entered the room unexpectedly. I don't appreciate you interrogating my son, he snapped. I wasn't interrogating him, I said calmly. I was just asking how my money would be used. Well, once you give someone money, it's not yours anymore, so it's not your business, Graham retorted. Is that any way to speak to someone who's thinking of giving you money? I shot back. You're not thinking, Ella. You're giving me that money. If you don't, I'll kick you out. I was stunned, and so was Liam. Dad, this wasn't part of. Shut up. I'm the parent, and I make the rules. If you don't give me that inheritance money, you can leave. Little did Graham know, I had been recording the entire conversation. I didn't say another word, but I shot him an angry glare before locking myself in my room. I started collecting all the evidence I could find against him, feeling like one of those TV detectives piecing together clues. I had voice recordings and screenshots of Graham's emails to Margot. I was preparing for the storm that was coming. Once I had everything, I called my mom. Hello, Mom. Hey, love. How are you? Mom, are you sitting down? Why? What's wrong? I'm afraid I have some really bad news to share, and you won't like it. I began telling her everything I had discovered. At first, she denied it, but then I played the audio recording for her. That was the breaking point. Why would he say those things to you? Why would he do this to me? Why would he be so cruel? She asked, her voice trembling. Because he's a bad man, Mom. I'm sorry to say it, but you married a monster. This is just terrible. I can't believe I left you alone with those two sickos. Absolutely not. I'm coming home right now. You stay where you are. Have you locked your door? Yes, ma'am. I'm going to ruin that man and make sure he never shows his face in public again. When I'm done with him, he'll wish he never married me. That's the spirit, Mom. Now hurry up and get home. We need to make a plan. When my mom arrived several hours later, she came straight to my room. We hugged and cried for what felt like hours. I could tell the news was hard for her to process, but her anger motivated her to take action. We talked for hours, and by the end of the night, we had a plan. Several days passed, and Graham couldn't figure out why my mom had come home early from her work trip or why she was ignoring him. He tried to act overly cheerful, almost too cheerful, in an attempt to convince her of his innocence. However, she saw through his act and was ready to kick him out. My mom decided to hire a private investigator after I showed her the suspicious messages about his business. She was furious, especially when she realized the money wasn't going to be used for legal purposes. She couldn't understand how a parent could be so cruel and scheming. The private investigator shared the findings with my mom, who then turned to me and said, "I'm speechless." What did the investigator find? I asked, eager but nervous. Well, my mom began, her voice heavy with anger. It turns out Graham is planning to use a laundromat for money laundering. It's such an old trick, but it gets worse. I leaned forward. What else? Margot, the woman he's cheating on me with, has a criminal record for drug-related activities. She's been arrested multiple times for conspiracy to sell illegal substances. I wouldn't be surprised if their so-called business involves drugs too. I stared at her, stunned. That's unbelievable. I would have never expected this. It feels like a veil has been lifted. The man I thought you married, he isn't a man at all. He's a sick and twisted person. Mom took a deep breath. When are we going to confront him? Right now. Follow my lead, she said firmly. Wait, let me grab my camera, I replied, quickly grabbing my phone to record the moment. We went to the living room and found Graham and Liam deep in conversation. And then we'll use this as a cover for our business, Graham was saying. It's all going to be hidden. Just act like you don't know anything and serve the customers, okay? Sure, but what about, Liam began before noticing us. Oh, hey, everyone. We're just finalizing stuff for my college application. Cut the act, Graham. The game is up. We know everything, Mom said, her voice sharp as a blade. What do you mean? Graham asked, trying to feign innocence. Your innocent act won't work anymore, Mom spat. Smile for the camera. Get that out of my face, you spoiled brat, I mean, Ella. Graham snapped. I smirked. We know everything, Graham. Do you realize how many years you could spend in jail for planning these crimes? I don't know what you're talking about, he said, his face tightening. Maybe we should call Margot and see what she has to say, Mom added, her voice dripping with sarcasm. You two think you're so smart, Graham growled. Margot is just a friend. Oh, really? Because those explicit photos say otherwise. Seriously, who even uses email to cheat? That's so dumb, I said, rolling my eyes. You went through my things. How dare you? Graham shouted, his face red with fury. No, Graham. How dare you? Mom fired back. How dare you threaten my daughter to give you money that doesn't belong to you? How dare you threaten to kick her out of my house? How dare you put your own son in your foolish schemes and endanger him? And how dare you plan to use this money for illegal activities? Now, you've got nothing to say, huh? We know everything, and we're going to take you down. Get that camera out of my face. Graham lunged toward me, but I quickly stepped out of his reach. His aggression was terrifying. You want to attack my daughter now? It's like you want to go to prison. Mom shouted. You're crazy. You think you know everything. You know nothing. Graham roared. Yeah, well, tell that to the police, who should be here any second now, Mom said coldly. Police. Graham's bravado crumbled. Yes, the police. Your behavior today makes me feel no guilt about calling them, especially with how you're acting, she said. At that moment, we heard sirens approaching. For the first time, Graham's face twisted into pure terror. The smirk he always wore, the one that made him seem like he thought he was smarter than everyone else, was gone. All the color drained from his face. Clara, please. You don't have to do this. I can explain everything. Graham begged. Save it for the judge, you cockroach, Mom said with venom in her voice. You disgust me. And Liam, don't think you're off the hook. You're old enough to know better, and you'll be held accountable too. Yes, Mom, Liam muttered, his face pale. Come on, Jasmine, Graham pleaded. Don't you think this is a bit too much? On the contrary, Mom said icily. It's not enough. Oh, and by the way, Ella, how's our live stream going? We've got over 3,000 people watching, I said with a grin. This is going to ruin me. Graham stammered. Good, Mom said, turning back to him. Oh, and in case it wasn't clear, I want a divorce. The live stream ended up being a sensation. Over 3,000 people witnessed Graham's downfall in real time. The story spread like wildfire, making it to local newspapers and tabloids. In the aftermath, Graham lost his job, his friends, and even family members who wanted nothing to do with him. He was facing serious charges for his schemes, and the judge warned he could face up to 20 years in prison. Margot, who had gone into hiding during the chaos, was eventually found by the police and charged with the same crimes. As for Mom and me, life was good. The experience brought us closer together. On weekends, we'd sit on the patio with drinks in hand, laughing about how foolish and evil Graham had been. Good riddance, Mom would say with a smile. Good riddance, indeed, I'd reply.